Hi everyone, it's Jenny from Mount Pisgah Arboretum, and today we're going to be talking about these strange things here on this tree. They're mushrooms. There are so many different kinds of mushrooms. Some are big, like these ones. Some are more medium size, like these ones. And some are so tiny, like this little one here. Some mushrooms don't even look like something that you think of as a mushroom. So today we're going to check out some mushrooms, explore, see which ones we can find out and about, and learn a little bit about them. So let's go check them out.
Look at these amazingly tiny mushrooms.
Mushrooms are a fungus, like this oak mazegill right here, or behind me, this really old chicken of the woods mushroom. That means they're not an animal, like the little snail that lived in this shell once. And they're also not a plant.
They're in their own group. They spread themselves around by spores, like some plants. See the spores on the back of this fern here? A mushroom is actually the fruiting body of a fungus, kind of like the apple on an apple tree. The mushroom's job is to spread spores around to start new fungi. Even though all mushrooms look different, they have some basic parts. So here are two different mushrooms, but they both have the stalk right here, and the top part is called the cap. And if you flip the cap over, you can see inside the gills. That's this part. And that's where the spores come from that help the mushroom spread itself around. So this one also, it's pretty dried up, but it also has the gills underneath the cap. But there are other mushrooms that look completely different, like this little puffball mushroom right here. Some mushrooms have, instead of gills, they'll have kind of a spongy looking thing or teeth. They're toothed mushrooms. So most mushrooms have these parts, these three parts. Hi, Alika. They have the cap, they've got the stalk, and they've got the gills underneath the cap. Here's a new fungus just starting to grow on the side of this cut log. It looks like it's going to be a toothed fungus.
You can see how the gills of this mushroom kind of looks like a maze underneath. And that's how it gets its name, oak mazegill. It also likes to grow on old dead oak trees.
This strange looking thing is actually a mushroom. It's called dead man's foot. And if you tap the top, that brown powdery stuff, those are the spores of the mushroom. That's how the mushroom spreads itself around. There goes the powder. So those are all little spores on their way to become new mushrooms somewhere else.
Unlike plants, like this fern, mushrooms don't make food for themselves using the sun's energy. They get food other ways.
Here's a mushroom that's being consumed by another mushroom. So this mushroom probably died and now is being eaten by another mushroom. But there are mushrooms that are parasites. That's one way that mushrooms get their energy. A parasitic mushroom is one that steals energy from another organism, like an animal or a plant. Some mushrooms are saprophytes. They get their energy by decomposing, breaking down dead plant and animal materials. These little mushrooms are breaking down this fir cone. They break down the dead stuff, get the food they need for themselves, and help add nutrients back into the soil that plants can use to grow. Other mushrooms are mycorrhizal mushrooms. So they get the energy they need by forming a connection with a plant. So the fungus will live on the roots of the plant and help the plant take up more water and nutrients from the soil than the plant would be able to do on its own. And in return, the plant gives the fungus sugars, basically food that it's making. So the mushroom gets food and the plant gets extra water and more nutrients. So plants that have a mycorrhizal fungus connected with them, they can grow without their fungi helper, but they usually grow much better with it. Remember that most of the fungus that the mushroom belongs to is actually under the ground where we can't see it. Let's see if we can find the fungus for this mushroom. Oh, here's some. So here's all of this little yellow stuff. Here, sometimes it's white, and that's the mycelium. That's the fungus that sent up this mushroom to the surface. Here's some more mycelium next to an old mushroom. It's that yellow and white stuff. So that's the main part of the fungus right there. That's what it looks like under the ground. Some mushrooms are poisonous, but there's not actually that many that are deadly poisonous. Most are just going to give you a stomach ache if you eat them. And some of them, a few, are really good for people to eat. This is one of those right here. It's a chanterelle. Here it is. This is a mushroom that people go into the forest looking for all the time. And lots of animals like to eat mushrooms too. Things like snails and slugs and lots of different kinds of bugs, raccoons. Lots of animals eat mushrooms. It looks like something took a bite out of this little mushroom. Look at all these tiny little grubs eating the bottom of this mushroom. Ooh, kind of cool. Here's a millipede checking out this really old looking chanterelle. Here's a banana slug with a little millipede. Banana slugs actually help spread the spores of mushrooms around because as they eat the mushrooms, because mushrooms are one of their favorite food, the spores stick to their slime, and then as they move around the forest floor, they help spread the spores of the mushroom and the fungus around. Look at this big and beautiful chicken of the woods mushroom. This is another mushroom that's edible. People sometimes eat. This is an Amanita mushroom. A lot of really poisonous mushrooms are Amanitas. And you can tell it's an Amanita because it has an extra part. So it still has the cap right here and the stalk. But then underneath, it has this part, which is the vulva. And it's kind of like a little egg that the mushroom is inside of when it's young and developing, and then this part bursts open and the mushroom pops out. Mushrooms like these are so important for the health of our forests here in the Pacific Northwest. They help trees, like the ones behind me, grow, and then when those trees fall down, they help break them down and turn them into new soil so that new plants can grow. The next time you're out for a walk in the woods, especially on rainy days, see how many different mushrooms you can find along the way. Bye!